I'm beginning to think this isn't a dream. Sitting alone in the bustling pancake emporium within my lair, the mansion of death, I was feeling rather hopeless. I failed to reconnect those I love and correct my wrongs against others. It seemed like whenever I finally understood change in my sense, it ends up violating the feelings of others because of my arrogant sense of pride. Perhaps I truly don't understand change. Flopping before me in a sudden burst of decrepit movement was a funky bird person with a singular foot, carrying a tray with a note that screeched loudly.
Dear pig fat freak, no more cheese cat on the bun. Good old fun. Get the frog out of here and go find a stinky seer in whatever forest I didn't make. I can't promise this isn't a trap. Deal with it, sucker. Love always your worst nightmare.
Immediately after reading the last word, the note exploded into an aura of spiritual fire and engulfed the laughing servant who happened to come into the nearby furnace. Evidently, this threatening message was from that accursed parasite, the Lord of Waking Dreams. Not that I need to believe in such an obvious deceiver's trick, but what else am I going to do with my time? Waving farewell to my two acolytes, Eulogy and Elegy, I promptly set one foot outside of my lair and tumbled flat on my face into a corrupted forest that wasn't there before, that reeked of uneasy enchantments. Predictably unbelievable. Tiptoeing through this mire of misty muck and mushrooms led me to a clearing in the forest, a graveyard of decapitated giants crucified upside down. Stirring in the distance was a tall, bug-like figure with a solemn look on their face, who intrepidly approached me as I sat on a jutting, broken tombstone. Waving at me, the figure introduced itself as Karoma, Seer of Symmetry, and informed me this place was called the Den of Deicide, a dumping ground for failed gods who got too close to the light. The seer apparently has the power to see anywhere in the Midnight Lands, but lost that ability when a black magician stole its shadow. However, the seer felt the presence of their shadow within this den and came to unite with it. Yet another convenient quest that roped me into solving itself. Beneath the tombstone rumbled and broke apart, revealing a hidden passage underground, and from it spat an abyssal hand that yanked the seer into the depths of the merciless night. Folding my arms around my chest after an extended shrugging session, I jumped straight into the tenacious tomb after abhorrently abducted Seer of Symmetry. At least this excursion would provide some entertainment for once. Capricious catacombs winded on for hours, as my pursuit of the seer stretched my patience as thin as a wafer. If I'm to believe this fellow, then my chances of finding my brother, Barlow Strangeside, just took an elevator to the top. Lurid lavender light revealed the door to a sweltering lair with two figures inside. The unlucky seer, who lied unconscious to my side, and an odd bird dreamer sitting next to a frenetic furnace. Before a word relinquished itself from my mouth, it became obvious. My voice was missing as this enigmatic entity spoke inside of my mind.
You big boy? This isn't going to work, you know. I didn't consent to either of you barging into my space. Pay the price and worship my brand of light and knowledge forever and ever and ever.
I shrugged at such an obvious lie. shook my head with an obvious grimace.
You can't be serious. I'll kick and scream until you kneel like you should.
My eyes rolled around like a clock.
Please, if you're just a little reasonable, then you know it's the best choice that helps everyone.
I started to fall asleep out of boredom.
Why, you insolent!
In a sudden blast of infernal heat, the creature transformed into a humanoid bird nightmare with magma pouring out of its head.
Your arrogant humor serves no purpose in my dominion, the true ruler of this world. When I, Hysterima, prophet of the Golden Dawn, was banished from another world elsewhere to live here, I brought the gift of awareness to these midnight lands and allowed dreams and nightmares to live peacefully forever. All shall serve my brand and must purify the shadows with my eternal love and hate.
Under my feet, I watched in dismay as my shadow swirled into the brand on the prophet's chest. Dizziness overwhelmed me as my knees buckled, but just as sleep kicked in, I noticed the prophet was acting odd. My shadow, which looked like the form I took shortly after arriving in the Midnight Lands, was possessing the prophet.
What is this entity? It feels as if it absorbed the power of the entire world. Get out of my body! Get out of me!
Darkness and light ruptured from the prophet as a myriad of shadows flew every which way. One such shadow, in the shape of a coyote, danced and rolled into the seer's unconscious form, immediately awakening the nightmare. Standing before me was my own shadow, gazing at me with a blank stare. Then my world faded to black. Gentle tapping on my shoulder awakened me in the den of deicide. Pushing myself up, I discovered a glowing sealed chain around my neck, in the shape of the prophet's brand of light and knowledge. No amount of strength seems to remove it, so my curse collection grew once more. Kiroma, the seer of symmetry, thanked me and handed me a flyer of a comedy show. Apparently, the seer forgot they had it in their belongings. Lifting my spectacles up and observing closely, a familiar funny dog waved at me with a smile.
Come one, come all, to the premiere comedy hour of the century, this evening beside the late night books. We promise there will be tons of laughter and surprises. You won't want to miss the grand entrance of Nowhere City's next greatest hit. Have no fear, comedian Barlow is here.